Hello. Our top story today: massive protests have erupted across Israel following the tragic deaths of 6 hostages in Gaza. The public's frustration is palpable, with hundreds of thousands of Israelis flooding the streets, demanding that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu takes stronger action to secure the release of the remaining 101 hostages held by Hamas. These demonstrations, drawing an estimated 500,000 participants, have swept through major cities including Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. The catalyst for this unrest was the recent announcement by the Israeli military that the bodies of 6 hostages were recovered from a tunnel in the southern Gaza city of Rafah. The victims, Carmel Gott, Hersh Goldberg, Poland, Eden Yerushalmi, Alexander Lobanov, Almog Sarusi, and Ori Danino, were killed by Hamas terrorists 48 to 72 hours before their discovery, according to forensic reports. The grief and anger over these deaths have fueled the public's demand for immediate and decisive government action. But why is the public outcry so intense right now? It's important to understand the context. Since the conflict began on October 7th, when Hamas launched a surprise attack on Israel, the situation has been tense, to say the least. Over 1,200 Israelis were killed in the initial attacks, and approximately 250 were taken hostage. The Israeli public's frustration has been building, with many feeling that the government's efforts to secure the hostages' release have been insufficient. In Jerusalem, demonstrators gathered outside the Prime Minister's residence, blocking streets, while in Tel Aviv, protesters filled the street's main highway, waving flags bearing images of the slain hostages. The Israeli police responded with water cannons, leading to 29 arrests. Labor leaders are now calling for a nationwide general strike on Monday to pressure the government into securing a ceasefire deal. What does this mean for Israel's internal stability? The scale of these protests is unprecedented in recent years, and they highlight a growing divide between the Israeli government and its citizens. The public's demand for action reflects deep-seated fears and anxieties about the safety of the remaining hostages and the overall handling of the conflict by Netanyahu's administration. With the head of Israel's Trade Union Federation backing the call for a general strike, the potential for widespread disruption is significant. Major sectors, including transportation at Ben Gurion Airport, could be affected. Internationally, the reaction has been one of condemnation and concern. US President Joe Biden expressed his outrage over the killings, vowing that Hamas leaders would face consequences and reiterating the US commitment to securing a ceasefire. However, diplomatic efforts have been challenging. Despite negotiations mediated by the US, Qatar, and Egypt, no ceasefire agreement has been reached. Hamas remains steadfast in its demands for Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, complicating efforts to secure the hostages' release. One glimmer of cooperation has emerged. Israel and Hamas have agreed to daily pauses in fighting to allow for a polio vaccination campaign in Gaza, following a recent outbreak that has paralyzed a young child. This rare moment of agreement shows that even amid intense conflict, there are opportunities for humanitarian action. But the broader picture remains uncertain, with ongoing violence and a deepening crisis in Gaza. As the situation develops, the coming days will be crucial in determining whether these protests can force the Israeli government into new negotiations, or if the conflict will continue to escalate. We'll continue to monitor the situation. Stay connected here on the African News Network, on our website, mobile app, and social media platforms. I'm Cynthia Niviwanti. Thank you for watching.